Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another year of the astrology of the Super Bowl. This year it's 2025, Kansas City versus the Eagles. Can astrology predict the outcome? This is what we've been trying to find out. And for the last 3 years in a row, I have correctly predicted the outcome of each Super Bowl. You can check that out at sign and symbol 222, a little bit more on each of those Super Bowls. And this year is no exception. My name is Dayna Schmidt-Johnson, and I am thrilled to find out if we can predict the winner of the Super Bowl based fully on astrology. And the way that we do this is by breaking down both astrological charts of the teams, the coaches, and the quarterbacks. Now, this is the exact same lineup we had 2 years ago, but what is different is the chart of the day, the chart of the moment, the chart of the location of Super Bowl 59 occurring on February 9th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. Central Time in New Orleans, Louisiana at Caesars Superdome. The world will be watching, and we are excited to show you exactly how fun of a game this is going to be. And we're going to do that by looking at three different components. Now, in the past, we've had up to 5 or 6 even, and this year we just have 3, which is going to make it a little tighter of a explanation and a little bit closer of an opportunity to predict the outcome. But I think you'll see how this is going to play out alongside these 3 things that are happening in the skies that day. So our first thing that we want to look at, number 1 here, is this moon conjuncting with Mars in Cancer. We have an emotional, intense game going on here. That shouldn't be a surprise. It's probably emotionally intense regardless, but this is going to really bring it out. Instincts are going to be about protection for both of our quarterbacks as well as those defensive teams. I think this is going to be a really defensive game, and we're going to see impulsive actions happening. Our quarterbacks, our teams may be making some choices at the last minute in the moments of the game that really come out of left field a little bit. So Mars and the moon there are teaming up in Cancer to really bring that heightened intensity to the day and to the game. If we look at number 2 down here in the right-hand corner, the sun in Aquarius is conjunct, meaning it's at the exact same degree as Mercury in Aquarius. And these two at 21 degrees give us some unique ideas, some new plays. We're going to see some new things happening at this game that we haven't seen before. Both teams are going to be able to come out and really give us something new, so that because they want to throw the other team off, right? Fast mental game that's going to be played here, and clear communication is going to be the key with this game. Can the coaches and the quarterbacks communicate with one another? Can the quarterbacks communicate with their teams? Can all of the electronic communication that's happening stay on top of everything? And if it can, and if it does, that's going to give that team the advantage. The third and final bit that we're going to be diving into here with everybody's charts is that we have Mars on the other side that we just talked about in Cancer, trining, creating that blue line in the center there with Saturn. So Saturn is our planet of discipline, our planet of boundaries, our planet of the long-term goals. So we're going to see maybe some slower progress. I think this is going to slow the game down a little bit. And I think that this trine is going to make the game really, really close in the end. We're going to go back and forth. That emotional frustration with Mars conjuncting the moon, coming up with Saturn here, is going to make this a really intense emotional game all around. But I think it's going to make it really close in tit for tat. These teams are going to go back and forth, and it's going to be a very close game. All right. So as we look at these specific elements in against each chart, you can see the 1, 2, 3 elements that we just talked about. The first one being Mars and the moon. Now it's going to be down on the right side here because that's how it comes up against all of these charts. We have picked all of these charts at a noon time, and that is why you see the chart this way and not at the way that the last slide was shown. And so that's why the planets are in different locations. However, they're going to stay the same on the outside here as we go through the rest of them, because this is where they're going to be placed on each of these charts. So when we look at that position 1 in Cancer with Mars and the moon, not too much happening there, but for Kansas City, for the team itself, the Chiefs that were originally the Dallas Texans, the team was born, if you will, on August 14th, 1959 in Dallas. So that is the chart that we're going with here. And in this case, this Moon and Mars conjunction are trining with the natal Jupiter of this chart. So we can see Jupiter in Scorpio in the Kansas City chart, and they are trining really beautifully with this first element of the breakdown. So this is going to give them some passionate optimism. They've already got the charisma showing, and they are going to come out with that. They've won the last 2 Super Bowls and they know it, and they're ready for their three-peat. So they are going to come in this game with a lot of bravado that is actually going to pay off in the long run. Their generosity, they have support for each other, and they're able to show that throughout the game. Now, with Saturn over here in Pisces, you can see that it's opposite what's happening over on the other side of the chart, which is Venus and Mars in the natal chart for Kansas City. And so these create a struggle between the heart and the head. What are we going to go here? Are we going to trust our gut? Are we going to trust the plays and the mental effort that has gone into getting to this point? So we might see a little bit of that. It might come off a little hot-headed to start off with. If they can balance the two, they're going to be in a lot better of a position. Now, this is also going to demand some patience and some maturity. They're really going to have to step up, and they're going to, if they can grow through the frustrations of the game and face all of the obstacles that are going to come at them, they will come out in a better position. Number 2 here, the Sun and Mercury really don't have much of an effect on this game for Kansas City as far as the team goes. Over here in Aquarius, we have the oppositions here are a little too far apart to really make a difference. So, but overall, pretty positive things, assuming they can work through the difficulties that can and will pop up. We can't forget that the Eagles are a phenomenal team. As we see by this chart, the Philadelphia Eagles, born, if you will, on July 8th of 1933 in Philadelphia. So they are back again to face off with the Chiefs. And with the Sun and Mars down here, they are actually in a really interesting position because they are conjuncting Pluto, the natal Pluto, and that is really going to be highlighting the game 2 years ago that they lost against the Chiefs. They are bringing that passion with them. They are saying, hey, we lost last time, let's bring it and let's not lose this time. So they've really got that behind them, and it creates kind of a bit of a that power struggle for them. So they're here to, you know, reclaim their right as Super Bowl winners. And if they can push through that resilience, they can rebirth that for themselves during this game. Looking at that second position of the Sun and Mercury, those two are conjuncting the natal Saturn for the Eagles. So, this is again going back to the patience, the perseverance, the effort to overcome any limitations that their team might be seeing. I feel like they have. They might have some injuries during this game. But it gives them a bigger sense of purpose as the game goes in. If they're able to lock in, if they're able to communicate with authority, they can overcome that. And finally, Saturn over here in Pisces is actually in an opposition with the natal Jupiter for the Eagles. So there is a push and pull between growth and restraint. Growth and restraint. And I think that that's how we're going to see their team. Explosive growth and then tightening in and being able to get those important pieces of communications out if they can kind of like lock in and pull it together in that way. They've got the idealism of Jupiter, but they've also got the realism of Saturn pushing on one another. So they have the ability to grow through it, but it does give them a lot more challenge. Heading over to the coaches, Andy Reid, born March 19th, 1958 in LA. He has some interesting things going on here. When we look at the Sun and Mercury, they're conjuncting his natal Venus. So his communication is going to really be on it. He is going to come out as a really charismatic, self-expressive, exciting, positive force during this game. And this optimism that the whole team shares right now because of where they've come from and what they're going for is really going to shine through in Andy Reid during this game. He also has Saturn here conjuncting his natal moon. So this is an interesting, the emotional responsibility. He feels a real responsibility to get that three-peat that has never been done. He feels so passionate and so strongly about this, and he's really going to help his team get there. If it doesn't go well, however, I think we'll see a retreat and a withdrawal from him, and we won't see that charismatic Andy Reid that we know from the Chiefs. But more than likely, he's going to be able to really override that positive optimism. And he also, with these two down here, Mars and the moon, those guys are trining with his natal moon. So that gives him even more confidence. That gives him even more drive, even more clarity and ease during this game. This is their third time back. They've got a confidence that only comes with being in the same position multiple times. So this gives a boost in vitality and excitement to Andy Reid. He has a really fun chart for this. Nick Sirianni, the Eagles coach, born June 15th, 1981 in Jamestown. We can see his chart here he has a clear sense of purpose for this game, and that is a result of the Sun and Mercury trining with his Sun down here in Gemini. These guys are all working together, giving him optimistic thinking, clear communication, and really positive interactions with authority. I feel like if there is an incident that happens here with the Eagles coach and say the refs, it comes out in his favor. So if he, if some call is made and he is against that call and he really works those positive interactions that he has able and open for him, he'll be able to work that in his favor. Now, the Sun and Mercury are also squaring his natal Pluto over here in Libra. So this gives him a little bit of tension. There's some power dynamics at the fold. Now, this gives him actual struggles with authority. So, on the one hand, he could have really positive outcomes. On the other, I think he could have, there could be a bit of a tension with him and possibly his quarterback, some intense conversations, getting to the root cause of any issues going on, and then um, being able to move forward from that. Because he also has his own this Saturn is trine with his natal Lilith. Now Lilith is a asteroid out there in the sphere that is kind of showing us where we need to bring a little bit more love and a little bit more heart and some practical applications to those things. So, if he can put his intuition on the spot using his heart in a bigger way, that's going to go really well. There's an emotional resilience here to get through. At the same time, that resilience may come as a result of a loss, right? He may have to show up and save face in the end. So Patrick Mahomes, getting on to the quarterbacks, born September 17th, 1995, Tyler, Texas. And when we start with his with this Sun and Mercury, they are trining his own Mercury in the skies. So his own Mercury is over here in Libra. These guys are reaching out and talking to one another so he can have clear, effective communication, that quick mental processing, and optimism for the game. Just as the other aspects for the Chiefs have said, hey, the optimism that comes with being here a third time in a row, being in a position to potentially win a third championship in a row and be the first team to do so. He has the ability to make that happen for a quick moving game. Now, Patrick Mahomes has one of the most interesting aspects in his chart for this entire game of all the charts that I've looked at. And that is this point number 3 of Saturn is directly on top of his natal Saturn in Pisces. This is a major life milestone for Patrick Mahomes. He has a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, but he's also reevaluating his entire life right now. He just had a third child. He has more demands on him than he's ever had in very personal ways. And this is a time of maturity for Mahomes. So if they do in fact lose, if the Chiefs lose this game, he's going to be able to hold that with maturity and kindness, and in a way that says, you know what, we didn't do it, and that's okay, and we'll come back and we'll do it again. Or what I predict is that if the Chiefs win this and have 3 rings in a row, Mahomes will be retiring. The pressures on him from his personal life have gotten too big, and he is ready to step away, see that he is getting older in this game. His injuries are becoming more problematic as he ages and may not be able to effectively get over that as quickly. So this is going to be a time for him to say, I'm going to step back. We've won 3 games in a row, and we are the Chiefs. And he's going to be doing other things with his life after this game. If they don't lose, if they don't win, they are going to, he's going to take a reeval. He might take the season off to figure out, where he wants to be and what he wants to do. This is a big, big game for Mahomes, more so than anyone else. He has one more thing going on here, and that's with the moon and the Mars down here. They are opposing his natal Neptune, creating some confusion, some disillusionment. We may see some some bips and bops happening with him where he can't quite lock in. He's really, really aware of every little thing that's happening right now. And the emotion of it all could feel like a little much. And so, again, if they lose, I can see him and the coach stepping away together and backing out of the difficult emotional situation that comes up with that. Finally, Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback, born August 7th, 1998 in Houston, Texas, has a lot going on as well with that mental tension. He's got this Mercury and Mars opposite his own Mercury in his chart. So there could be that confusion, the miscommunication, clashing perspectives. And this is why I said he and Sirianni could kind of get into it, because he could think that his way is the right way and the coach is saying, no, my way is the right way, and just trying to figure out exactly what the right way to play the game is going to be. And he's just going to be playing things over and over and over in his head on the sidelines. With Saturn being in Pisces, his Jupiter is also here, pretty close, but not exact. Still, it's putting a damper on Jupiter, which is the planet of growth and expansion. So if he puts in the hard work, which I'm sure he has been doing, he does have every opportunity to win this game as well. And finally, with Saturn trining Mars and Venus for him, his Mars and Venus over here in Cancer, again, where Mars and the moon are sitting and creating that tension. This trine with Saturn creates some effortless integration of work and pleasure. Jalen's really going to enjoy this game and have a lot of fun with it, as well as the hard work. And I can see some real excitement and joy coming out of the end for him as well, regardless of the outcome. So, Chiefs, Eagles, 2025, Super Bowl 59, who will win? When we look at each of these separately, I'm going to say Kansas City ekes out on top of the Eagles in their charts. For the coaches, it is going to be just once more, just over the line for the Chiefs. And as for the quarterbacks, same thing. So my prediction here, Kansas City is going to win the Super Bowl, have their three-peat. It's going to be an incredibly tight game. There's going to be some crazy calls. There's going to be some crazy plays. There's going to be excitement and fun on the field for all players. But Kansas City comes out on top. And shortly thereafter, not giving a timeline on this one, but I do believe Mahomes is going to call his retirement with the Chiefs. And with that, I thank you all for tuning in for another Can Astrology Predict the Super Bowl? For 2025, I'm Dayna Schmidt-Johnson. You can find me at sign-in symbol 222 all over the internet. Thank you so much. Good luck, Chiefs.